evening. Good evening. Welcome to Build Your Best Life of Coach Deborah D. Smith. I'm super excited to have you here today. You could have been anywhere else, but you decided to join us. So come on in, like, and share as we prepare to get started. I'm glad to have my guest, Minister SHAQUILLE Hanna, back with me again. How are you this afternoon?
Good evening, Coach Deborah, and all of everybody out there who's just building their best life, whatever that looks like for you. I'm so excited to be back on this platform with you this evening.
Awesome. I'm so glad that you could be here. This month I have been going from the theme drive. In order to get wherever it is that you want to go, you need to go, is your purpose, you got to have some motivation and drive behind you. So that is the theme for this month. And what Minister Hanna and I are going to talk about today is, do you know how fast you're going?
Mm, that's
Do
good.
you know how fast you are going? Good evening, Deacon Holmes. Thank you for tuning in. Speed kills. But speed doesn't only happen on the road. That can happen in your everyday activities. You need to slow down. Slow down, because when you slow down, you can manage your daily activities better. You can monitor interruptions a little better, remove some of those distractions. People say that they're multitasking, but you cannot really multitask because your brain is not going to function at 100% on everything that you're trying to do. So you are really wasting time. So it'll help you alleviate that, and learning to say no. That is a big thing that a lot of us have problems with as we're busy, we're doing things, and we want to try to please everybody. A lot of times we're either not maybe not the best fit for a certain thing, or we're just overwhelmed, and if we try to squeeze it in, we're not going to be on time, we're going to be late, we're not going to do a good job. So we need to learn how to say, I really would like to, but at this time I'm not able to. It's okay. We can't do everything. There's a time for everything. So we are going to talk about how fast are you going, and we may not be talking about where you think we're going. So first of all, I know I said welcome back. You've been here before, but not everybody has had the opportunity to meet you. So could you start out by telling us a little bit about yourself?
Yes. I'm just sharing the link with some of my groups here. So my name is SHAQUILLE HANNA. As Coach Deborah's already said, I'm from Nassau, Bahamas. I am a ordained minister, or actually elder of the gospel. I am a family man, husband. I have two kids, 9 and 5. Love them dearly. Also entrepreneur. And I am also, youth minister, in terms of that's where I focus the majority of my ministry work. I love working with young people, love inspiring them, motivating them, and just encouraging them and building them up to make sure that they are ready for life because it's crazy, and making sure that they have that foundation spiritually, mentally. We even sometimes get into finances, as we've been doing all month, and my goal is just to empower them. So to sum it all up, faith, family, business, ministry. That is me in a nutshell.
That's awesome. That's a lot of good stuff. All right. So, Elder Hanna, have you ever received a ticket for speeding? And if so, how was that experience?
So surprisingly, no, I've never received a ticket for speeding. My wife did just like a month ago, but her ticket was maybe 5 miles over the speed limit. I don't know. That day was kind of crazy, and it was on a wide open highway. But hey, it's still speeding, I guess, by definition of the law. But I've never received one.
Okay, well, that's wonderful. Well, But there are a lot of people that have the need for speed. If they're not speeding, they're not driving. And I always thought it was okay to go 5 miles over the speed limit. So, a lesson learned.
Mhm.
Yeah, but people need to be cautious about speeding. Sometimes, and I guess that's where it comes in, where you need to plan out a little bit better how you do things, because maybe other than you just like the speed, there's no really a need to do that if you are managing your day and you have time to get where you need to get to. But needless to say, people still like the just go everywhere. A lot of people, I should say, like to get where they're going in the shortest amount of time. uh, but when I talk about the need for speed, now I'm talking about, I don't know if you've seen this commercial where this man is walking and he's just walking down the sidewalk really fast, and he's on his cell phone and he's grabbed something to eat and he's just going. But it's like, that happens, really all the time. People, everywhere you see people, everybody is in a hurry. Where do you think this need for speed in everything that we do is coming from? Is it something that had just
Mm.
started recently, or has it just always been so and we never noticed as much?
Um, I think that the world speeds up with time, and the reason why I say that is because we've all heard the saying before, where it says money makes the world go round, right? And I think that as we get more modernized and we get more modernized, we have we're all in, because we're all living in the same hemisphere, right? I'm in the Bahamas, you're in Florida, and we're all at this pace where we're trying to move as fast and as productive as the things in life is happening around us. And there's actually a term here, is called the velocity of money, and it's a measurement of the rate at which money is exchanged in an economy. And I believe that as times are speeding up, persons are, they're getting anxious. They're trying to secure their life. They're trying to secure um, their home, their family, their schooling. And everybody is always moving at this velocity because they're moving at the speed of money, because we've been taught that we exchange time for money, and that's essentially how we get successful. So the more time I try to spend getting money, the more successful I'll be. Now, we know that that's not entirely true, but a lot of persons are moving with this pace because the velocity or the speed or the angst or the anxiety is coming because I am trying to chase money. I'm trying to chase a better life for myself. I'm trying to chase a better life for my family. I'm trying to get a better car. I'm trying to get a bigger house if I don't have one yet. If I don't have a house, I'm trying to get the house, and I'm trying to get the house where the money is the same as it was 5 years ago, but now we went through a pandemic, now we're going through inflation, now we're going through hyperinflation. So I got to keep moving, I got to keep pushing, I got to keep hustling, I got to keep doing these things because the world is moving fast, and if I don't move at the speed of what I see things moving, that's how I get left behind. And I think that that's the psychology that a lot of persons are moving with in this day and time, and that's why we see this constant hustle and bustle, and and this constant rat race, because uh, everyone's trying to move at the velocity of money because they think that time equals to money. I know that's a mouthful.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, because, we have, well, I personally haven't seen it, I don't think this bad for a while. So that makes sense that people are having to speed it up, hustle more, uh, get extra gigs. And so they're just really moving, but they are moving. But
Yep.
I like that. I hadn't ever heard that velocity of money. So that was interesting. Yep. Good evening, Dan and Agnes. Thank y'all for tuning in. Well, a lot of people think, the faster they get something done, is better, but I would beg to differ and say faster is not always better because it's not efficient. A lot of times, sometimes you lose something as you try to do everything fast. It might
Mhm.
get out of whack. So, how many people do you work alongside, on a regular basis? And then what is your work style as you're working with them?
So for me, in business, I work with a small team of about 5 persons, and in ministry, I work with about a dozen leaders. And sometimes, depending on the project or the assignment, it could span to more. I'm personally more of, a few styles mixed together, a visionary. I like to envision things, to inspire, to write, to set goals, and to chart the course forward. I'm also logical, love to think, and and come up with solutions, and and how do we solve problems, and then another thing I love to do is, I'm now, over the last few years, I've become very data driven as well too. What is the data? What is happening around the world? What is happening around the country? What is happening internally? How do we process this data to make better decisions? And then lastly, and I listed them in priority order, I'm a doer, right? I love to get things done. I love people who work with me to get things done. I'm very task oriented. So that's how I'm always thinking of, of work. Um, Envisioning, being logical, driven by data, and then also being a doer.
Okay. And so, look, as you work with the different groups, though, are they do they work well together? Or do you ever have to, uh, you know, step in to say, hey, I know you want to get it done and we want to get it done, but we need to do this together. And if we, pull together as a team, we can probably get more done. Do you ever have someone just try to just step over everyone to get it done by themselves?
Yeah, I think that within any organization, there's always going to be a mix of personalities. There's always going to be a mix of persons. Some persons are laid back. Some persons are trying to run ahead. Some persons are overthinking some things. Some persons are not thinking as much as they should. I think that there's always going to be a mix of persons, and I think that that's where the vision, that's where the leadership, kind of brings it all together. And even if we look at the recent NBA finals, right? You had um, two teams going at it, and both of them trying to execute their strategy really well. And the coach, he's watching these guys, super athletic, who's going up and down the floor, running back and forth. These guys can jump extremely high. They can do push-ups, lift weights, or whatever. And here it is, you got a little scrawny guy on the sidelines who probably can't even keep up with them in a quarter-mile run, and another guy, over there who has a dad board, right? But the thing about it is, they're just watching the game with their eyes, and they're just going back and forth, and they're watching the game with the eyes, and they're making adjustments, and they're telling the guys who are far superiors athletically, the guys who can jump, who can run, who have all of this incredible ability. They are the ones telling them what to do, what not to do, when to pull back, when to go around. Maybe you got to look at this a bit different. Maybe we have to slow this down. At this point in time in the game, you should speed this up. So I don't think that necessarily, when it comes to our teams, it isn't just about talent, but it's about execution, strategy, vision, leadership. Because we've never seen teams with horrible coaching in any team sport actually go ahead and win the championship, or win the goal, or perform well over an extended period of time. And I think we have to always keep that in mind when we're talking about working within the context of teams.
Yeah, and that basketball championship, that's a good analogy. I like that. Very good. Well, you know, another thing that can get in the way is distractions. Uh, and I know, like Coach, this week he's teaching on critical thinking, and it was amazing that he said only 8% of people think that they are thinking.
Mm.
Actually, only 2% that are critical thinkers. So, you know, that was just astounding to me, those numbers. Uh, but what distractions do you have any distractions that uh, get in your space on a routine basis? And if you do, how do you handle them?
Uh yeah, man. I think we all have distractions. Sometimes, to be honest with you, I think I'm my biggest distraction, my own ambition, trying to do so much. And sometimes you have urgent things and then you have important things, right? And sometimes I think it's just a matter of prioritizing them. I've like this week is a extremely heavy week for me in terms of studies, in terms of speaking engagements, etc. And I have an office at the church, so sometimes I try to go there and get some work done, and then I have a business office, and then sometimes I try to come here and get some stuff done, and then sometimes I'm trying to be at home, but then I got the kids there. so, so I'm at the point where I'm like, shoot, to get some things done, maybe I got to go to the library. But the reality of it is, we're all gonna have distractions. I think that we have to try our best to manage them. I think we have to try our best to also find quiet time and quiet spaces. That's what I try to do a lot, right? In terms of, for you, you might not have a place that you can physically resort to, but maybe you have a time that you can resort to. Maybe that requires waking up a bit extra early in the morning. Maybe that requires staying up a bit later in the evening. Maybe that requires on the weekend, maybe driving, if you're in a country like mine, to the beach or to the water, or maybe going somewhere else quiet, whatever that is. But it's always going to be distractions, and that's it in the physical sense. Sometimes we have to also mind. I think one of the biggest distractions everybody has is this phone right here, right?
Definitely.
Your phone, your tablets, the media, the content, and you have to always remind yourself of the goal at hand, right? What are you doing this for? What are you sacrificing for? What are you eating healthy for? What are you going to the gym for? What are you studying for? What are you working towards? Right? What is it that you are trying to do? And you have to keep that in front of you, because if you don't, it's easy. It's extremely easy. You don't have to do anything to get distracted, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be very, like you said, that that phone that can really get you. And you know, it's amazing. You know, you think, what do we do without them? Because, and I'll say we uh can't eat without them. They got to be right there on the table. And they doesn't do any good to put them face down, because when you hear them vibrate or whatever, you got
Yep.
to pick up to see who it is. You
That's
go
true.
out to eat to have some time. I said, you know, sometimes I'm like, okay, can you just say I'm eating dinner? You have to talk. And they laugh at me because, you know, at night I actually I turn my phone off. I don't have it on. Of course, we have a landline, so in case of an emergency, you know, that'll ring, and my husband keeps his on. But I turn my phone off. And I am one, if I'm doing something and it rings, Mom, your phone ringing. Okay, I know, but I'm doing something. I know where you are. I know where your dad is. And it's not an emergency, because they're all the kids got their own ringtone, so it's none of them. So okay, it's okay. You know, so that is definitely something that we have to try harder to manage. But now I've been talking about people doing a lot of things, but I can remember, to me, I don't remember people actually talking about multitasking to about 10 years ago. And then it
Mm.
big thing, oh, you can multitask, you get so much done, blah, 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 blah. But now you fast
Mm.
forward and everybody's saying, oh, you can't really multitask because your brain is not going to focus. It's not wired to split time up and give this over here 100% of the time. So I'm going to do an email and I'm going to talk on the phone and I'm going to help my child with the homework, but my brain is not giving that full attention to any of those things. And so I'm really not focused and I'm really not getting a lot of things done. So, in your opinion, what is your perspective on multitasking? Do you think it's a myth, or do you think it really is an efficiency process?
Um, I think, to be honest with you, I think that multitasking and capacity goes hand in hand, right? Because the reality of it is, we can say that, oh, we don't do well if we multitask, but that's not entirely true for everybody, right? Somebody can study better with the music on, right? If I am a audible learner, so if I'm hearing something, I'm retaining it more than if I'm sitting down reading it. If I'm sitting down reading it, I got like a good 20 minutes before I check out, and then I got to come back and reel myself back in, right? Even for some exams I recently took, I recorded, I read everything out, I recorded it, and I just put the earplugs in. And as I'm doing my daily things, I'm still listening to everything. But that's multitasking, and I pass way better than I thought I would. So I think that it comes down to capacity, and capacity I feel is built over time. Capacity is built through education. The more educated you are, the more you are able to do, the more you are able to accomplish, right? Capacity is also built by your team. Who do you have around you? Do you have a good family system at home? Do you have a good family structure at home? Because the reality of it is, we were never meant to be like these single individuals as human beings. We were always meant to function in community. So if you have a good family structure, that allows you to do more than one thing well. If you have a good work structure, that allows you to do more than one thing well. If you are healthy in your body, that allows you to push your body a little bit further than the average person, right? And I think that as we continue to build capacity in these different areas, the capacity gives us the ability to be able to hold more, to be able to facilitate more, to be able to do more, right? Even if we think about anybody who is world renowned at anything, most of the times they're not just doing that one thing, right? Because if you look at the richest man in the world, Elon Musk, he's running Tesla, he got SpaceX going on. He just bought Twitter, and he got all these things going. And you're saying, how is he doing this? Well, first of all, he's very educated, right? So that gives him a higher level of capacity. He's managing his time. He's aware of his energy, and then he also has teams. He's not physically making every single decision concerning these companies and concerning all of these different things. He has teams in place to do it, right? So I think that um, when it comes to multitasking, at the end of the day, we have to. It's a thin line between being focused and zero in, and then also being a good manager, because we don't have the privilege, or we don't have the ability to just block out the whole world. I mean, we would like to, but you can try to block out the whole world and you go home and kids are there. You block out the whole world and you got a spy. You got a spouse. You block out the whole world and then your boss is asking you for assignment, or if you work for yourself, you got clients or whatever. So we don't have that privilege to just block everything out. Sometimes we're gonna have to manage what's coming at us, prioritize it, and we have to it's a saying that says the adult axe takes longer to cut down a tree, right? So as we build our capacity, the things that would have taken us weeks to solve before, maybe we get it done in a week. The things that would have taken us days to figure out, maybe we get it done in a day. the things that would have taken us a whole day to figure out or to accomplish, maybe we get it done before breakfast in the morning, right? And as we build, we get to different levels. We're able to have some level of mastery, and the things that used to trip us up, the things that used to distract us, we're able to, just go on like this from task to task to task to task. And to another person, they're like, oh, how are you doing this? You're doing so much. This is so distracted. Your life is so imbalanced, or whatever the case may be. But for you who's been in it and who's been managing it and who's been doing a very good job at it, it works. So I don't think it's a myth. The reality of it is we all, as human beings, do not have the privilege to just block out everything and focus on one thing on a daily life basis. I'm not talking about special occasions or special situations. I'm talking about from Sunday to Saturday, 7 days a week. You're not going to have that ability to just block everything out and focus. You're going to have to manage the things that's coming at you and hopefully succeed at whatever it is you're hoping to do, whether it's your professional life, your personal life, your spiritual life, or whatever other aspect of life you have going on.
That's great. I love that. And I wish we had more young people on here because uh, a lot of what you are saying, I think, would be so beneficial for them to hear. Um, because it just made so much sense. It just flowed together. And that's the type of information that they need, especially those that are, transitioning. They're going from middle school to high school to college to that main workforce out there. They need this type of information. So that was very, very good. Thank you so much. And I want to say welcome to Cecil Knowles. Thank you for tuning in. All right. Well, talking about the tortoise and the hare, that is a very well-known fable everybody talked about, and it shows everybody that it's not always going faster is not always the most efficient thing. Sometimes you have to be focused and intentional about what you're doing. So, what is your perspective of speed versus goals plus focus plus intentionality?
Um, I think that's the story with the tortoise and the hare. I think that at the end of the day, it's all circumstantial. It's all circumstantial. The Bible tells us about endurance, right? The Bible tells us about set times and set seasons. But there is no hurt in being focused and fast, right? Usain Bolt was the fastest, is still the fastest man to ever live. He was focused and he was fast. He got his job done in 20 seconds or less, or 10 seconds or less. And he was extremely focused. Being fast does not take away from your focus. As a matter of fact, I think sometimes to be fast, you have to be more focused, right? If that makes sense. Because the thing is, we live in a world where you can get Amazon delivery in 2 days. You get Amazon delivery in 1 day. Depending on where you live, you might get it in a few hours, right?
Right.
That doesn't mean that they're not focused. I think that they have ironed out the kinks, and every business is trying to do this now. And while they're trying to do this, it takes them more focus to actually get there. So I don't think that when you become focused, you have to sacrifice speed, and that's why I say I think it's circumstantial because it depends on what you're looking at or what you're doing. And whenever we look at principles, godly principles, life principles, etc., I think that we have to apply the right principles to the right situations to get the right results, right? As far as our work life goes and goals and things we're trying to accomplish, we have to understand that work meets time allotted. You're right. If you say, okay, I want to write a book. When do you want to write your book? I want my book to come out in 2024. Okay, you've just given yourself the next 2 years to accomplish writing this book. Someone else comes along and say, well, I want to write a book. When do you want your book to release? In 2023. They've given themselves 1 year. Same goal, less time, right? Someone says, I want to write a book. Well, when do you want your book to be released? This Christmas. Are you serious? Are you crazy? Oh man, that's such a little bit of time to write a book, etc. But at the reality of it is that work meets time allotted. So so at the end of the day, um, we have to be careful, to make sure that we're actually applying that principle when it comes to goal. Now, here's the balance to that. We have to balance ambition with reality, right? Ambition with reality, because we can be ambitious and we can be an overachiever, but we still have to balance it with reality, because the reality of it is when we don't meet our goals, when we don't hit our targets, when we don't do the things that we said we're going to do and that we set out to do, we have something internally that's going to that we're going to disappoint ourselves, right? We're going to have the self-talk internally. We may never verbalize it, but we're internalizing it. So we have the self-talk, and we're telling ourselves, "Oh man, Deborah, you know you shouldn't have eat those chips this week, man. You were eating chips. You were just out here eating ice cream. Oh man, you were wild." And you're not saying this physically, but you're internalizing it. And what then happens is you disappoint yourself, right? And in disappointing yourself, you've discouraged yourself, and now you are demotivated to go after your goal, whatever that goal is, right? So you have to balance the ambition with the reality. The ambition is, I want to save um uh $20,000 by the end of the year. The reality of it is, it's probably not going to happen if I really look at the data. So how can I meet this in the middle? Well, maybe 5,000 is a more realistic goal. It's going to take a lot of discipline, but I can do it. And then when my psyche sees this, it's like, wow, I can really do this. Well, what if I was disciplined enough to do this from June to December 2022? What can I do from January to December 2023? And that's how you push yourself, and that's how you get yourself to essentially become more efficient, more disciplined, to cut down time on your goals, etc. So I think that when we're talking about this, once again, it's circumstantial in terms of the principle. Some things we're going to have to wait on. Some things it's going to be processed. Some things we're going to have to be patient with. Some things we're going to have to just learn how to let it play out, how to wait on God, how to let life play out, how to let time play out. And some things we're going to have to get focused with. Some things we're going to have to do fast, because if we don't do some things fast, we lose the momentum. And I think that that's the danger sometimes of not necessarily jumping on things right away, right? Losing the momentum. But here's the balance, and here's the reality of it all. When I was in high school, coach, I was a long distance runner. I know it might not look so right now. My dad bought is fully caught up to me, but I was a long distance runner in high school. And the reality of it is I was in enough races to watch guys who would have got out the blocks extremely fast. And we're going 800 meters, we're going 1200 meters, we're going 1500 meters. At the end of the race, those guys sometimes were in the middle of the pack or they were dead last, right? And one of the things I realized in running long distance, it was not about how fast you started. It was not about the energy boost that you had during the race. It was not about none of those things. It was about the pace that you were able to set. And the reality of it is, as we're talking about speed versus slowing it down, it's the pace of your life. What is the pace of your life? What are you able to do? What are you able to commit to? What are you able to, what do you have to take off your plate to have a better pace? What do you have to do to have a better pace with your spouse, with your family? What do you have to do to set a better financial pace for yourself? What do you have to do to set a better spiritual pace in your life? That's the key word. That's what it all boils down to. Because if you move too slow in a long distance race, eventually you're not going to have enough time to catch up towards the end. If you move too fast, you're not going to have enough endurance to keep up with the pack, right? And
Right.
the thing is, when we think about the long distance race of life, the path is the things that we are trying to keep up with. And in the back of my mind, I was always just trying, if I'm staying in striking distance with the pack, I can keep up with everything that with everyone in the race. And at the end, I can start to pull away. So if I can keep up with things in my spiritual life, if I could keep up with my kids, I could keep up with my wife, I could keep up with business, and I could keep up with church. And I just set a healthy pace. I'm not trying to go too far ahead. I'm not trying to fall too far behind, but I'm just trying to keep a healthy pace because when the time matters most, I'm able to close the deal and I'm able to be successful at the end of the race. And we see in the Bible that Paul compares this journey to a race, but a race of endurance, right?
Right.
And that's coming from a former long distance runner who is since retired.
Oh, that's good. That's good stuff. I like that. Yes. That is a very good analogy. Thank you for that. Oh. Um, Now this is just something that is my perspective on this. And I know I've struggled with it before, and that's saying no, because no matter how much I had on my plate, I would never say no. I would never say no. And it's gotten me sometimes where I had to stay up just about all night doing something. Um, but and only do this if you think it, if you agree. I mean, don't, I'm not telling you to come up with something that you don't agree on, but my
Mhm.
question or my thought was to please provide our young people with tips on how or when to say no. But do you even
I
believe
think
that there
that
are times when they need to say no?
when it comes to saying no, we have to understand that not saying no to someone or to something sometimes means saying no to yourself, right? And if
Mhm.
you are presented with a multiple choice, and maybe this is what you have to do, persons won't present you with a multiple choice. They won't say, "Hey, Coach Deborah, would you love to do X, Y, and Z for us or with us? Or would you rather go to sleep and be rested for the long week ahead of you because you got so much on your plate already?" Right? If things came in a multiple choice like that, we would pick the best thing for ourselves every single time, right? But
Right.
it doesn't. It does not come in a multiple choice like that. And I think that we have to internalize it and ask ourselves, hey, listen, do I want to eat this bad food or do I want to stay on my physical fitness journey? Do I want to stay up all night playing video games or watching TikTok, or do I want to be well rested because I have exams in the morning, right? Do I want to be successful and stay the course with this thing, or a few years from now, am I going to regret this? I think that once we put the multiple choice scenario as we're processing and making decisions, it makes it much easier to say no. And the reality of it is, a lot of people don't say no. A lot of young people, especially when their identities are still forming, you don't say no because essentially you are a people pleaser. You are still trying to get in with the crowd. You are still trying to find your tribe. You are still trying to fit in with your friends. So the more I can say yes, the more I can avail myself, the more I can quote unquote be there, then the more in I am, the more accepted I am. But the reality of it is, uh, unless you are fulfilling your God given call, you will always do what people think that you should do, right? Some persons, we don't say no because we don't understand the importance of saying no. We don't know that sometimes by not saying no, we're saying no to ourselves. We don't say no because we don't understand the consequences of not saying no. And then some people don't say no because they just don't know how to say no. Listen, I got a list here. I appreciate the offer, but I can't. I'm honored, but I can't. I love to do that, but I can't. I appreciate the invitation, but I'm completely booked. Thanks for thinking of me, but I can't. Regrettably, I'm not able to do so. You're so kind to think of me, but I just can't. No, thank you. It sounds lovely. Hey, this weekend would have been awesome, but next weekend not so good. You get the point. The reality of it is, you have to learn how to say no to other people because and other situations and circumstances because at the end of the day you can't just keep rejecting yourself. Yes, sometimes we can go out of our way, we can be selfless, and we can go above and beyond, but you don't want your whole life to be above and beyond for others and below for yourself, because
Mhm.
then that doesn't become balanced and that doesn't set the right pace that we were talking about earlier. And then you are brownie points with people, and you are terrible with yourself, right? So you are falling behind on all of the things that you would like to do, you would like to accomplish, the things you would like to spend your time on, and you've given it all away to people, and sometimes the return on that is not so good. I'm telling you, as someone who's in ministry.
All right. That's awesome. All right. Well, this has been fun. Uh, you provided us with a lot of information. As we close, can you give us your thoughts or tips on how to be more efficient and achieve more positivity in one's life daily, on a daily basis?
Yes, first things first, I would tell you, know yourself, know yourself, know yourself, know yourself, know your habits, know the things that trips you up, know the things that distract you, know your work style, right? Am I working better in the morning? Am I working better in the evening? Can I get up at this time? Can I do like what's the pace that I'm usually doing things at without much effort? And you have to think about that, work beyond that, and know your talents, your habits, know have the full SWOT analysis on you, because it's going to be hard to improve you if you don't know you.
That's
Right? So you have to know you. The next thing is you have to know the will of God for your life. You can go far and you can do a lot of things. Listen, a famous rapper once said, "The good news is you've came a long way, but the bad news is you've came the wrong way." So you want to you want to definitely make sure that you're going the right way. You don't want to reach age 50 and realize like, oh man, I just messed this whole thing up, right? You don't
right.
want to go be at the end of your second degree. You got a degree in business and you got a degree in marketing. And then, at age 30, after spending 10 years in school, you decide you want to be a scientist. Come on. You got to know what it is, that, first of all, who you are. First of all, knowing your habits, knowing you, knowing yourself, and then knowing God's will for you, right? The next thing is you have to limit distractions, because once you know you, once you know what's God's plan is for your life, your journey, then at the end of the day, you can spot the things that are going to take you away from there. You're going to spot the things that is going to take you off of that path, and those are the things that you're going to have to say no to. And essentially, those are the things that you're going to have to limit. Those are the things that you're going to have to manage. Because the thing about distractions is we like to say we can eliminate all distractions, right? And that's not necessarily true. That's not how life works. But we can manage distractions. We can limit distractions. Like you said, you do. You turn your phone off in the evening time at a certain time. What are you doing? You are limiting the distraction. You are managing the distraction of the cell phone. Now, there's other distractions that can be around. You can distract yourself. You can just start doing something all willy nilly and waste time, right? We all do that. But I think that Once you are able to limit them, once you're able to manage them, you can get more productivity from your 24 hours. And then the last thing I would encourage everyone here to do is keep a measuring tool. Keep measuring, keep writing, keep count. Keep measuring, keep writing, and keep count. And here's the reality of that: you cannot grow what you do not know. You cannot get an amount from which you do not count. So at the end of the day, you have to be able to say, you know what? I have come into this year and I was all hyped up at that New Year's Eve service or the watch night service, and I made all of these wonderful resolutions, and I said I was going to do this, and I said I was going to do that, or whatever. First of all, is it written? Because that's the way you're going to be able to track it, right? Second of all, if it's written and you're not on target with the things that you said you wanted to do, the things you were on par to do, what happened, right? A lot of times when you see that happen, it's always usually a fall off by maybe the fourth month of the year, the fifth month of the year. That means that not necessarily that you're losing focus, you just didn't have the right pace, because the race is still going on. The race is still going on. Whether you're walking, whether you sit, whether you crawling, whether you rolling, whether you jogging, running, whatever it is, the race is still going on, and the race is time. So time is still going on, and you have to just refocus, recalibrate, and get back on pace, right? And I think that that was the story, or one of the intrinsic values of the story with the tortoise and the hare, is that the tortoise, based on his ability, he stayed on pace. The hare, based on his ability, he should have been done a long time ago, but he didn't stay on pace with his ability, right? Some
Right.
persons and sometimes we can get over, especially overachievers, we can get overconfident, and our overconfidence causes us to get off pace because we're saying, oh, I can do this. I can make back up, right? I don't have to study for that exam next week. I can just cram, right? It works all the time. I have
Yeah.
to prepare for this. I don't, and that's essentially what happens sometimes. We get overconfident. So I would say we have to keep writing, keep measuring, and keep count. And that's pretty much it. Know yourself, know the will of God for your life, limit distractions, keep count.
All right, that is awesome stuff. And like I said, I just wish so many of our young men were on here this evening to hear this stuff.
I'm
So
going to share it. I'm going to reshare it with them.
okay, great. Because I was going to say, please share, share, share. And thank you, Omar. I think this Woodside, for joining us. We got to go back and view the entire video because it is a lot of great information that Elder Hannah has shared with us today. I really appreciate it. See, that's why I have to keep coming back to get you. You are on top of it. you, I mean, it's one thing to know information, but I know that you work to remain relevant, keep up with what's going on, the changes and everything. And that's what we need, to stay focused and stay relevant. And these young men can get the information that they need. So I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate it. I appreciate being on here. Thank you to everybody who tuned in. Thank you if you are tuning in on the replay. I appreciate it, man. And listen, continue to tune in to Build Your Best Life with Coach Deborah, because she is giving you guys the goodies, and she is definitely on top with all of the tools and all of the information necessary to help you to make the rest of your life the best of your life.
Thank you so much. And I know you have a couple things going on. You have a business or whatever. So if you want to tell everybody how they can contact you, please feel free.
Yes, yes. You can just send me an email, SHAQUILLEHANNA@outlook.com. Go ahead, send me an email, connect with me on Facebook, Shaquille Hanna. You can connect with our marketing company at skysolutionsconsultants.com, or go ahead, send us an email at info at skysolutionconsultants.com. Or if you want to connect with us and do some youth work, impactyouchurch.mtc@gmail.com. That once again, that's impactyouchurch.mtc@gmail.com. And there's so many other things that's happening. You want to connect with me for music, youngreverendmusic@gmail.com. And I have 11 emails. I'm not going to put them all out there. It's going to be completely unnecessary. But I would say this much. Um, we've been shooting a lot of content. I had a privilege to speak to the university here recently. A few weeks ago, I had another privileged opportunity to speak to some young men just about 2 weeks ago. I'm speaking to a graduation this week, and I've been going around with my camera guy. We've been capturing a lot of these things and these moments on camera. And my goal and my endeavor is to share it with you. So we're building out a YouTube channel now, also putting some things up on Facebook. So I would just encourage you, just follow me on Facebook, Shaquille Hanna. You're going to see when we post it up. You can always get in contact with me for anything else. And I would love to connect with you, whoever you are, wherever you are. There's no limits in what we can do and how we can connect.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Great stuff. Thank you so much. We'll be back on Thursday, which is the 23rd, and our topic for Thursday is stretch yourself. So please join us at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Please log on to my website, www.buildyourbestlife.org, and you can find my calendar of events. You can click on the icons on the homepage. It'll take you directly to my Facebook page, YouTube page, and Twitter page. Also, you can read my blog. I have a blog that comes out each Monday. So you can read that as well. You can see the services that I offer: speaking, webinar speaking, coaching, and consultations. And you can get a copy of my book, Build Your Best Life, right on there. Autographed copy. You'll get it in two to 3 days. I have them in stock. And if you like Kindle books, visit Amazon.com. But thank you all so much for tuning in today. And again, Elder Hannah, thank you so much for coming back on. I appreciate it. And good luck with everything. Not good luck, blessings to everything that you will be doing. And I'm just delighted to hear that you're going to be speaking to all these young people. That's what I love to hear. That's my passion. So keep doing the good work that you are doing. You are following your purpose, and hey, that's what he expects of us. So thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
All right. So everyone have a good evening, and thank you so much. Remember, building your best life is our business. That's not a slogan. It's our commitment. I love you. Be blessed. Stay safe, and see you next time. Bye-bye.